The Jacksonville Jaguars just turned the AFC into a problem nobody is ready for. And that is not an exaggeration. That is a warning. 1 season ago, they were sitting on 4 lonely wins. Now they walk off their home field with a 13-win record, an AFC South crown, and a scoreboard that reads 41-7 against a division rival. That kind of jump does not happen by accident. It feels like the whole league kept staring at teams they already knew, while Jacksonville built something new in the background, then kicked the door in at the end of the year and said, "Here we are. Deal with it." The wild part is how complete this looks when you slow it down. On one side, you have an offense that looks fearless, ripping the ball all over the field, while Trevor Lawrence quietly stacks over 4,000 passing yards and well above 30 total touchdowns, and breaks franchise records like it is nothing. Around him, there's a rotating line of weapons who all look ready for the moment, plus a special teams unit with Cam Little hitting field goals from beyond 65 yards and changing what the word range even means. Then you look up at the scoreboard and remember that the defense just held Tennessee to almost nothing after that first punch, smothered the run, and turned a single bad throw into 6 points the other way with Antonio Johnson gliding down the sideline. So when people say this might just be a hot streak, you can already feel how far off that sounds. Hot streaks do not flip 4 wins into 13. Do not give you an offense that can score from anywhere, a kicker who makes midfield feel like scoring position, and a defense that smells blood the second you hesitate. This is why the rest of the AFC should be nervous, because the real story of the Jaguars starts where most teams break. The first time you make a mistake against this group, especially against that defense, the entire game can flip in one play. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Jaguars and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 300 likes on this video. Every big season has a side of the ball that changes the team's personality, and for Jacksonville, it is this defense that has turned quiet confidence into straight fear. Last year, they sat at the bottom of the league with only 9 takeaways, a group that played hard but rarely changed the story on their own. This season, they come back and rip the ball away more than 30 times, setting a new bar for interceptions and turning the scoreboard around without waiting for the offense. That is not just better tackling or cleaner coverage. That is a mindset shift where every snap feels like a chance to steal something from you. You can see it in the way they choke the life out of drives. Quarterbacks walk in thinking the easy answer is the check down, then realize the windows are shrinking faster than they expect. And by the time they get to their second read, Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker, Foyesade Olokun, and Devin Lloyd are already closing in. When a backup like Brandon Allen finishes with 17 completions for only 72 yards, and the opponent limps to under 4 yards per play, that is not just a bad day at work. That is a defense taking away air and forcing you to live in third and long all afternoon. Then one misread over the middle, and Antonio Johnson is gone the other way, adding his 5th interception of the year and tacking on another defensive score to a season that already shattered the old team record. What makes this even harder for the rest of the league is the way the unit feeds off the home crowd and off their own success. Every time Antonio Johnson jumps a route, every time Josh Hines-Allen wins off the edge, it feels like the entire stadium leans forward waiting for the ball to pop loose. Offenses start pressing, coaches get conservative, and coordinators on the other sideline know that any drive that ends with a forced throw might not just be an incompletion, it might be a swing that buries them. And the scary part is, this defense is not doing all of this for a middling offense. They are handing extra chances back to a quarterback who knows exactly what to do with them. And that partnership between Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen is where the story really starts to get dangerous. The real plot twist in Jacksonville is not just a new playbook, it is the way Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen locked into the same vision at the same time. When Cohen took this job, he was not stepping into a clean situation, he was walking into a locker room that had talent, scars, and questions about what the quarterback really was at the highest level. Instead of trying to prove how clever his system was, Cohen made one simple choice that changed everything. He decided that the offense would live through how Trevor Lawrence sees the field, not how a call sheet looks on paper. From that moment on, every meeting, every install, every adjustment turned into a conversation between a head coach and a franchise passer, building something together, not fighting over control. You can feel that connection in the way Sundays look now. Early in the year, there were drives where Trevor Lawrence still looked like he was forcing answers, getting stuck on a read, or trusting his arm more than the structure. That version did not last long. Cohen started leaning into what his quarterback does best, giving him freedom to change plays, simplifying looks on key downs, and then layering more responsibility once the rhythm clicked. Over the last stretch of the season, you see a different player. He is calm at the line. He changes protections. He checks into run or pass without panic, and the ball comes out on time to the right side of the field. Not every throw is a bomb, but the decisions stack up. Third downs feel organized. Red zone trips feel intentional, and you rarely see that old hesitation that used to show up when games tightened in the fourth quarter. The scary part for the rest of the league is that this partnership is only at the start of its life, and it is already producing one of the most dangerous attacks in the conference. Liam Cohen now knows exactly how far he can push his quarterback, how aggressive he can be with tempo, how often he can trust Trevor Lawrence to handle full field reads and late checks. In return, the quarterback knows his coach will keep giving him answers and keep putting the right people in the right spots. That is how you end up with an offense that can throw to a big outside target like Brian Thomas Jr., work underneath to Parker Washington, involve tight ends, and still lean on Travis Etienne when they want to grind clock. And once you understand how that trust built the backbone of this scheme, you can see why this offense now feels like it has 8 different ways to hurt you, which is exactly where the story goes next. There is a reason defensive coordinators look sick when they start breaking down this Jaguars tape, and it is not just because Trevor Lawrence is good, it is because there is no safe call against this attack. One drive, they are stretching the field, sideline to sideline with quick throws and motion. The next, they are pushing the ball deep on early downs like it is nothing. Then out of nowhere, they slow everything down and grind clock with the run. You think you finally have them in third and long? They empty the backfield and let Trevor Lawrence calmly pick out the mismatch. You think you are ready for the pass? They sneak a draw or a screen right past your blitz. It feels less like an offense calling plays and more like a group that is constantly asking the defense one question: what part of the field are you willing to give up today? What makes that question so brutal is how different every main weapon looks. Brian Thomas Jr. is the big outside prop, the one who can win on vertical shots and back, shoulder throws when you leave him alone. Parker Washington is the guy who turns a shallow route into a 20-yard gain because he refuses to go down on first contact. Jacoby Myers is the steady answer in traffic, always sitting in the right window when you need to move the chains. Then you add Brenton Strange and Quentin Morris, leaking out from tight alignments, forcing linebackers to decide if they want to help in the run fit or try to cover space they do not really have the speed for. Behind all of that, Travis Etienne Jr. can hit a crease for a chunk run or flare into the flat as a receiver. And younger backs, like Paschal Tutin, come in with fresh legs and keep the same tempo. When a defense has to worry about all of that at once, it is only a matter of time before somebody ends up uncovered. The scariest stretch is when this group gets into situations that usually slow other teams down, because here those moments turn into showcases. Red zone trips do not bog down into panic. Plays, they turn into layered designs where Parker Washington runs something sharp underneath, Brian Thomas Jr. threatens the back corner, a tight end sneaks across the formation, and Trevor Lawrence simply picks whichever defender makes the first mistake. 2-minute drills look calm, not rushed, because everyone on the field already knows there are answers built into the call. And the cruel part for opponents is this: all of that stress comes before you even factor in what happens when Jacksonville crosses midfield and hands the game to their special teams, where the kicker can turn what looks like an ordinary drive into points from distances most teams would not even attempt. Most teams feel relief when they finally cross the 50-yard line. The Jacksonville Jaguars feel something different. They feel greedy because with Cam Little on the field, yard lines that used to be out of reach are now flat out dangerous. He is not just a strong leg. He is the guy who already owns the longest and second longest kicks in league history, drilling one from 68 yards earlier this season and then following it with 67 yards against Tennessee, like it was a normal attempt. Those are not video game numbers. Those are real points on real drives. And every defensive coordinator who watches that tape knows they cannot treat the logo at midfield like safety anymore. One decent completion, one drawn flag, and Jacksonville can walk away with 3 points from a distance most teams would not even try. That changes the entire shape of a game before you even talk about the rest of the special teams group. The operation around Cam Little is clean, the snap is there, the hold is there, and the ball explodes off his foot before the rush can even believe the kick is real from that spot. When drives stall short, the punter pins you deep instead of giving you a free reset at the 25, and those hidden yards stack up over 4 quarters. Then you flip the field, even more with returns, because Parker Washington is not just a wide receiver. He is a real return threat who already took a punt 87 yards to the house against San Francisco. And backs like Poshul Tuden can flip a kickoff into instant field position with one crease. For opponents, it feels like there is no safe phase. You survive the offense, you avoid the defense making a play on the ball, and special teams still tilt the field against you. The quiet killer is the way this all feeds into the mood of the building and the belief of the city. When Cam Little lines up from a distance that should be crazy, and the crowd in Jacksonville is not holding its breath, but actually expecting the ball to sail through, you can feel how different this place has become. Every long kick, every big return from Parker Washington, every time coverage guys sprint down and pin someone inside the 10, it sends the same message to the rest of the league. This is a complete operation now, not a one-phase story. And that attitude did not come from nowhere. It came from a fan base that refused to give up, an ownership group that finally aligned the right people, and a city that decided to push all in on this team, which is exactly the part of the story that shows how deep this rise really goes. You can feel it before a snap is even played, because Jacksonville does not sound like a small market that is just happy to be here anymore. The noise inside that stadium has a different edge to it now. It feels like years of frustration boiling over into one loud message. This is our team, and this is our moment. Those people in teal sat through blowouts, false starts, and false hope, and they still kept showing up. Now the payoff is real. When the Jaguars walk out for a home game, they are carrying more than a game plan. They are carrying a city that finally believes the league has to come through them. That energy hits visiting teams in the face before Trevor Lawrence even takes a snap. Behind that crowd, there's a structure that finally makes sense. Ownership stopped chasing quick fixes and let football people build an actual plan. A reshaped front office with voices like James Gladstone lined up with Liam Cohen in the locker room. And for the first time in a long time, everything pointed in the same direction. You see it in the kind of players they bring in and keep, tough pros who fit what they want to be, from leaders in the trenches to steady vets in the locker room. You see it in the way they bring legends, like Tony Boselli close to the current group, reminding everyone what the standard is supposed to look like. You see it when a longtime Jaguar, like DeJuan Smoot, is back on the sideline during a division clincher, living proof of how far this thing has come from the years when winning felt like a bonus, not an expectation. All of that buy-in is why this rise feels solid, not fragile. The fans, the front office, the coaching staff, the players who lived through the dark seasons, they all know this is bigger than one hot year. The city just agreed to pour serious money into a new stadium. The roster is built around stars who are still in their prime, and the culture is finally strong enough to handle real pressure. That is what should make the rest of the league nervous, because this does not look like a one-year spike that will fade when the schedule gets harder. It looks like the first real payoff of a long rebuild. And the scary question for everyone else is simple. How did this team climb from the bottom of the standings to this spot so fast? And what did they change to pull off that kind of jump? Not long ago, the Jaguars were stuck near the bottom of the AFC with 13 losses. Trevor Lawrence taking hits, and a fan base treated like the league's background noise. But a full reset changed everything. Ownership finally let football people lead, hired Liam Cohen, raised the standard in the locker room, and kept only the players willing to match that work. The early bumps did not break this group. They tightened up, fixed the details, and turned that rock bottom into 13 wins in a home playoff game. Now, this is not some lucky schedule story. It is a rebuilt contender that knows what it feels like to be ignored. And that edge is exactly what makes them so dangerous. Heading into a playoff field full of teams who are used to hunting, not being hunted. Playoff football is about surviving when every mistake hurts. And that is exactly why the Jacksonville Jaguars are suddenly so scary. In a conference that still features Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and rising teams in Houston and Cincinnati, Jacksonville brings a different threat. A group that can turn one Trevor Lawrence third down throw or one deep Cam Little kick into a season-changing moment. They can grind with Travis Etienne Jr. They can race through the air with Trevor Lawrence. They can flip the field with Antonio Johnson. And Josh Hines Allen and their special teams turn midfield into real scoring range. So they check every playoff box instead of just one. The wild part is nobody even knows their ceiling yet. But one thing is clear. This is no longer the safe matchup you circle. This is the team everyone quietly hopes they do not see until the very end.